Welcome back, everyone, to Industry Insiders, the show where we go deep with the people who actually run the market, not just talk about it. Today, we are very excited to have Jeremy Farlow on with us. Jeremy is the managing broker and founder of Farlow Real Estate Experts out of Quincy, Illinois, a 20-year veteran who went from mechanical engineer to top 1% agent in the nation, built a team of 15 plus brokers, and has just kept raising the bar. Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Rick.
For our listeners who haven't come across you yet, give us 30-second version. What does Farlow Real Estate Experts do that is bringing the success that you've got to you?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's focused on the fundamentals, the basics. It really boils down to daily routines, processes, and systems that make everything run very smoothly, and it's the same for every single person who comes through. But then the daily routines are what get the consistent follow-up and reach outs and all of the calls made that generates all of the activity that we've got.
Yes. So give us a little bit, fill in your background a little bit. It's an interesting trail. So kind of
Yeah.
kind of bring our audience up to speed on that.
How far back do you want me to go? When I was a kid and I thought I want to be a doctor so that I could afford to be a farmer, or a little
Oh,
further than
there
that?
you
Yeah.
go. Right.
Um, so, so I started out life as a mechanical engineer, and along those lines, I actually got to design tractors at John Deere. That's my first job out of school. I got to work on the Stealth, the F-117 fighter plane. Worked at Honda with the 1997 Honda Accord. So that was a
Nice.
long time ago. I've traveled the world and I've worked all kinds of different places. So it's been pretty neat, but I got to the point finally where I had started investing in real estate. I'd listened to some guys and I thought, man, if those guys can do it, I think I can do it. And so I started out life doing some investing while I was working as an engineer. Banks really like W-2s, but
Hmm.
then I got to the point where I was just kind of, I guess, disenfranchised with being an engineer, and it wasn't that exciting or fun for me. It was just like plodding along, doing the work. And I remember sitting beside a guy during a benefits rollout type of thing. And at the time, I think I was making 70 something thousand, and he was making 100,000. And I don't remember how old I was, maybe 27, 28, and he was probably my age now. Um, and I just thought, man, I've got to work another 15 years to get to 100,000. Like, I, that just, I don't know, I just put a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, surely there's a quicker path. And so I wanted to get paid for what I was worth. And during my 20-year stint in real estate, every single year, I can tell you without fail, I've gotten paid for what I'm worth. There have been some years that I didn't work very hard or do it right, and the market gave me what I was worth. And then there have been other years where I've just knocked it out of the park and I've been given what I was worth. So that's what I love in this business so much is that the only ceiling that exists is the one that I put on it for myself. Or in this case, the people who are watching it, the only ceiling that's there is the one that you're sticking on there, where you feel that you're limited. And there are guys out there who are way better than I am what at real estate and what they do. Their numbers are way bigger than mine. So I've always got to be working on raising my ceiling at what's possible. And so hopefully by sharing some of the things that we're talking about today, I would love to challenge everybody who's listening to consider that and see understand and identify where their ceiling is right now and open it up and see if they can't do just a little bit better.
Hmm.
Because that could really change your life. If you did just a little bit better, imagine the impact that that would have on you and your family or whoever, your friends, whatever that is.
Be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you have to unlearn from engineering to succeed in real estate?
That is an excellent question. What did I have to unlearn in engineering to succeed in real estate? I had to unlearn that I thought that I kind of knew it all, and I was way more pragmatic, might be the right word. Like dunk, dunk, dunk. And I just thought that it should, if I do this and do that, then it should happen, kind of like an engineer that would. I never got into the pocket protectors, so I didn't have to get rid of those. But really working on my people skills and listening more, I've made a
Hmm.
ton of money keeping my mouth shut and just
Hmm.
waiting for them. Whereas as an engineer, I just felt like I always had to have the answers or whatever, and my way was the right way. And that could have just been because I was young too. But really just listening to people, understanding what they're saying, and then being able to solve their problem. Nobody cares about what I know. They just want to know how much I care. And so I've had to learn that.
Yeah, that's a great insight. That's listening. It's a bit of an art.
Always working on that.
Yes. So you made a very deliberate choice to focus exclusively on listings. No
Yes.
buyers unless it's a mega mansion. You
Right?
can't turn that down. Most agents never make that call. How did you arrive at that decision, and what did it do to your business when you finally actually really committed to that strategy?
Yeah, thanks. I didn't get there all at once. So when I first started, I was showing houses, I was listing houses, I was doing everything, and I was incredibly busy, so busy. And then as time went on, the first step in that process was that I got into a dual agency situation that
Mhm.
just went sideways. And I made the rule right then for me as an agent, but then also as the owner of the company, no more dual agency. And I think that was about 15 years ago or so, 10 or 15, something like that. And I just won't allow it. We don't do anything that's any related to that at all. So then once you kind of split the sides up a little bit, I had an agent at the time where I'm like, hey, you take buyers, I'll take the sellers. And so any buyers I had, I gave to that agent. That agent gave me all the sellers. And we actually sold about the same amount. And I liked it. And it's interesting because as I talk to other agents, and this isn't across the board, a lot of times guys tend to gravitate or enjoy working with listings more, and women sometimes tend to enjoy working with the buyers more. I don't enjoy going into a house and say, "Oh, look, I wonder if we could put a couch over here," or "Wouldn't the drapes look amazing there?" Because of that, I didn't do as well on the buying side as much as I tried to force it and do it. And as I talk to some of my female agents, they don't like the pressure of having that listing where it's like it's not selling now. What do we do? And they feel that pressure and they don't like it. Whereas they do enjoy, and again, there's an exception to all the rules. So I'm not trying to
Hmm.
pigeonhole anybody. There
Hmm.
can be guys who just want to do buyers. There can be girls who just want to do, sellers. I don't care. I'm just saying I saw that once I split it, I would hear that feedback from others. But anyway, once I got away from dual agency, and then that agent is gone, but I just have solely locked in on the listing side of things because I do now have a process. And I've got an operations manager who follows that. And so it's just like makes my life super simple. I'm not working
Hmm.
evenings and weekends and showing houses to all those people
Hmm.
unless, and sadly tonight I have to go show a house, but it's a big one. And so I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go
You
do
can
it.
make an exception for the
Right?
dollar amount
Yes.
justifies the pain point.
Yes, yes, that's what it is. But I will list anything. I mean, I just got a listing for $25,000. That's awful, but I've got a minimum commission, but it's like, come on. And then I just sold a million something here not too long ago. So it's like, and that's big in our area. That's really big. For some people that are listening, that might not be very big at
Right,
all.
right, right.
But
It all depends on the market that you're in, right?
yeah,
So you mentioned in our prep call that 71% of agents sold zero homes last year. That just blows my mind.
isn't
And
that
that the
awful?
yeah, that's just crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose there's a lot of agents out there that are licensed but just not really actively doing much, but that's still it's just an incredible number.
Yeah, and that came from the National Association of Realtors. So these are of realtors, not just real estate agents. And there are some of them that maybe are appraisers, right? So they're not going to be
Uh,
selling. And
yeah,
then there may be
yeah.
some that are a part of a team. So the numbers only show at the high guy and
Oh,
not all of the teammates.
sure.
However, big picture, you know that there are a ton of agents who will fall into that category of just struggling. They're not doing anything. because then the
Hmm.
average is 10 to 12 houses a year, less than one a month. It's like, that's not good.
No, no, that's not good for the bank account if that's what you're in it for anyway.
Right? Right. No, that'll hurt.
So you've listed 14 listings in your first 11 weeks this year alone. What
Yes.
are two or three things that you do differently at a tactical level that most agents simply aren't doing?
I know this sounds ridiculous, but I told you in the beginning, focusing on the fundamentals, showing up. I've got a daily routine. I do the same things every day. And it's just so simple. It's so simple. There's a book that I read, The 1% Difference. It's so simple to be so much better than everyone else. Just those little itty bitty things that you can do, like a daily routine. I do these things every single day.
Hmm.
Reaching out to for sale by owners and expireds. I've got scripts that I use. I've been in this 20 years. I've almost got those scripts memorized, but I pull them out. I've got them on my desk. I've got my speaker on or my phone on speaker, and I just go down through my script. Like, why would
Hmm.
I do scripts when I am a top 1% realtor? Why would I do that? Because it works. Because I can remember when I first started thinking, oh, this just doesn't sound like me. Ugh, I don't want to follow a script. Why not? Works,
Works.
right? It works. Someone else came up with it. I just do it and it works. And for a couple of them that I don't get, and if I had a better script, maybe it would work, but it's like this script works. And so those would be two of the things, focusing on the for sale by owners, the expireds, and showing
Hmm.
up and just doing the same thing with scripts. It works. It's funny though. I talk about the scripts. The other day I found a for sale by owner. Guess who didn't want to make their call, right? I mean, it's like I am the same as every other realtor out there. Uh, if you find somebody who loves making calls, I mean, man, they're one in a million. I can't imagine anybody loves making their calls all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So that's something I throw out there too, is like I show up and I choose the hard that works. Um, so that would be the two or three things. And I wish that it was
Yeah.
like a magic wand, exciting thing, but it's just simple. It's so simple.
Yeah. It's not the sexy things that set you apart.
It's true. I've
Yeah.
tried everything. I've tried billboards, I've tried mailers, being in the newspaper. That was a bad idea. I've tried every single thing that you can possibly do in this business. The very best is face to face.
Hmm.
Second best is on the phone. Like knocking on doors, best. Talking to somebody, best. Talking on the phone, second best. All that other stuff, I mean, it's not even on the same graph. It's just way down at the bottom. So yeah, like you said, it's not the sexy
Yeah.
stuff. It's just the tried and true. It's always worked. You just gotta do
Yep.
it.
Yeah. You got to have the discipline to do it. That's how you get 14 listings when you only had a goal of 11.
Right? But I've got some vacations planned this year, so I've got to work ahead.
Ah, there you go. There you go. There's always has to be a little extra motivation there, doesn't there?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So you have an operations manager who handles the logistics of each listing so you can stay in front of clients and prospects. A lot of solo agents are terrified to hire the first person. What would you tell the agent who knows they need to scale but can't get out of their own way?
Yeah, that's hard. That's really a hard,
Hmm.
question to wrestle through. I fought hiring somebody for the longest time that I possibly could, and I found every possible, I would say, software advantage that I could, from back in the day using Showing Time,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
Showing Time manages all your calls. And that was before all
Right.
the MLSs had it. So I bought that specifically to avoid having to hire someone, but
Hmm.
it took so much weight off. And then, doing like a software that keeps track of all of your documents. I did that. And, just a couple of things that I
Right.
tried to do before I took the final step and I hired someone. Because you definitely don't want to be worried that you have to fire them. So going into it, you need to make sure that your processes are all there. And the processes are so easy because you do it every single time. All you gotta do is write it down. And then if you missed one later, just add it in there. And then
Hmm.
just get somebody to follow that for you. It could be another agent in the office. that, you know, real easy, who's not performing as well as you are, and just say, hey, will you handle this for me? And you can hire them to do that kind of thing. There are a lot of VAs that you can use right now to do some of that work, a virtual assistant. You know, when you get to the point, and I'm very fortunate to be at that point, Rochelle makes my life so easy, my operations manager. I literally only have to work a couple hours a day to hit the levels that I'm hitting because I don't have to go pay attention to hiring someone to put the signs in the yard or arranging the photography or dealing with the title company or going to closings. And everybody thinks you have to go to closings. I don't go. I don't know why
Hmm.
anyone goes anymore because you can spend 2 or 3 hours just sitting there waiting for funds. You're just like, oh, do, do, you
Right,
know, and it's just a
right,
waste of time.
right.
Um, but that's why I've got her.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's just all of that, and there's just so much stuff that she can take off of my plate, and I have her available for all of the agents in our office to do the same thing. So
Yeah.
I guess I've got kind of economies of scale in that
Hmm.
regard. But
And
yeah,
that
you've been great.
allows that
Hmm?
allows you to then focus on strategy going forward,
Yeah, yeah, or goofing off. Those are
or
choices.
or goofing off, but there can be a strategy to that as well.
Yes. No, it allows me to pay attention to the different things that are going on or work on some of, you know, like this, the podcast with you right now, or just put other videos out there and other social media posts to you know, to attract attention that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Farlow Real Estate Experts been operational since
Hmm.
2006,
Yeah.
and you've grown from a solo operator to a team of 15 plus brokers across Illinois and Missouri.
Yep.
What's the hardest part of running a team that nobody talks about uh, on stage or at the conferences?
They probably talk about this one. It's just keeping people focused on what is the main thing. I've shared already how what I do is very simple. And I try to make it so that when we're in our meetings or I'm talking to them, like I'm right here. You can ask me, you can follow me around, you can copy me. The challenge is just trying to help people overcome their nervousness. Maybe it's not always laziness, but maybe it's feeling insecure, their insecurities,
Hmm.
just to make that call, just to go for it, to understand that we all feel that way and you just have to do it. When I started, I was awful. I'd like to say that I was amazing. I felt amazing, but I had a lot to learn to get to where I am now, where everything is just so smooth and easy. But man, I have studied hard and I have practiced a lot to get here. So just to get people over the hump to do it, to have the discipline. Discipline is probably the biggest one because motivation disappears instantly. It's got to be
Hmm.
that discipline.
Yep, yep, absolutely. You said something that stuck with me in our prep call. My goal is to
Uh-huh.
just help somebody get their very next listing.
Yes.
Yes, it's a simple goal, but there's a gap between sounding simple and executing consistently,
Yeah.
especially in a market where inventory has been tight for years. How do you maintain that focus when the market is working against you?
Yeah. Again, it goes back to the simple daily disciplines where I go back to it's you're all in your mindset. And obviously you have to have the skills and some of those things, but the mindset.
Hmm.
You mentioned earlier I started this in 2006. Maybe some people remember 2008 and 9 were kind of rough. So
Hmm.
while the economy was tanking, the housing market was tanking, my business was actually blowing up. I didn't know any better. I just put my shoulder to it and I just kept pushing and pushing. I kept making my for sale by owner calls. I kept making my expired calls. I didn't realize that the market was supposed to go down or that there was a an option of losing. I knew it was going to work. I just kept pushing and pushing and I had goals that I had set and I pushed for them. And so I want to help people get that first listing because if you can get a taste of that, it can start to build a little momentum. I mean, this business is hard. You know, people think, "Oh, I'm just going to do it." It is hard. And if you're not getting any listings, man, there's no joy. But once you get that listing, it's like, woohoo, you know, the smile comes on and the excitement comes back, like, okay, I can get another one. So if I can
Right.
help people get that first one or maybe one they haven't had for a while, I hope that it can build momentum and show that, hey, these things worked and I got one. I'll just do them again. I'll get another one. And then kind of
Hmm.
show them, hey, once we got the one, let's roll on. Let's get the next one and just kind of keep that going. I would love for
Yeah.
everybody to be successful in this business if they want to be. So I would love to be able to help people do that.
Yeah. I mean, kind of along that line, real estate has always, I guess, sort of had the stigma so much as kind of the reputation of being a career choice that's somewhat easy to get into, but the ease of getting into it does not reflect the difficulty once you're in it. And I think that's why you see a lot of people that come in and out of this as a profession because
Yeah.
of that reason.
You want to hear a funny story? Real
Sure.
short. So, my grandpa, bless his heart, I love him dearly. He's passed away since then. But I mean, as a little kid, I always wanted to ride the tractors with him. I'd sit on the fender for hours and then in the cab. I love my grandpa so much. So, I think he was really proud of me when I became an engineer and I'm working at John Deere and doing some of these other things because,
Right.
farming, it's all tied into that. And one day I was visiting and I said that I had quit engineering and I had gotten my real estate license. And he's like, "Oh, I thought that was something that people only got when they couldn't do anything else." A year and a half later, I showed up on my Mercedes C63 AMG and I drove down their gravel road just to show that to them. And I'm like, "Hey, Grandpa, remember when you said that real estate was only something people did when they couldn't do anything else? I want you to come outside." He's like, "I don't
Oh,
remember that. I don't remember."
no, selective memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's true. That's the perception that
Yeah.
most people have, and especially
Right.
people who are getting in, they think this is easy. I mean, how hard can it be? I like people, I like houses. Yes,
Hmm.
I love hearing that. Now let me show you how to actually make money with those two loves. And you may
Yeah.
not like people much longer.
Especially some people, but
Oh man.
no, yeah, that's a good story. But I mean, that's kind of the synopsis of the overall belief, I guess. I mean, it's kind of always been that way, and it still might be to a certain extent today, but I think that's changed a little bit over the last number of years. I think sometimes the housing difficulties are okay because then it weeds out a bunch of these people that just weren't dedicated to it in the first place.
Absolutely. And in
Yeah.
fact, another little story, when I first got my license, it was difficult for me when people say, "What do you do?" I'm a realtor. I sell real estate. Because when you say you're an engineer, everybody's like, "Oh, you must be super
Oh,
smart." But when you
right.
say you're a real estate agent, I just felt I had also that same misguided perception. It's like, well, you're like a used car salesman. Okay, before somebody says, "Oh, you're picking on used car salesmen," there are good ones out there. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
If you look at statistics and reports and those kinds of things, you got to understand like you're lower than some people. But I just felt like I was nothing. And
Hmm.
now when I say it, I have a little more confidence. But there definitely is that perception out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're building something beyond the brokerage, a video-based training subscription for agents who want to level up their game. Why teach when you've got a thriving operation as it is now? What is driving you to do this?
It's something that has been on my mind for years. I would say maybe 4 years ago, I came across a note where I'd written it down, and then I decided just to go for it here recently. I love teaching. I've always enjoyed teaching and helping people. I feel like I'm just a normal guy, and I feel like so many times the training that's available, I love Tom Ferry and the stuff that he teaches. He's
Hmm.
definitely for the one percenters, and his stuff is so big. And when you hear some of those guys talking who are in the 0.01%, it can be overwhelming and almost because they're so far away. Even for me, sometimes it's just overwhelming and discouraging. What I
Yeah.
wanted to do is kind of come up with more of a Mr. Rogers approach where it's like, "Hey, I'm here with you. This is the next step. This is the next step. Let's work on this together. Here is exactly what I do every day." There, like I'm not holding anything back. This is the exact script that I use every single day. And so I've
Hmm.
called it novice to expert agent. I don't ever plan on being a Tom Ferry of sorts. I would love to take
Right.
people who are just getting started or who have lost their mojo or their motivation
Hmm.
and get them to the point where they're able to benefit from a Tom Ferry or somebody like that in that elite class of real estate coaches. I just want to help everybody. I feel like it's kind of the forgotten group because they're it's more fun to say, "Hey, I coach the biggest and the best." I'm here saying I just want to help you guys succeed. I just want to see you do a little bit better than you did before, and I feel like I have got the ability to do that. And so here's my coffee cup, novice into E, novice to expert. There's a little play button there. Kind of
Nice plug.
curious, yeah, right.
Absolutely.
That's my hope is that I can help people become experts and to have the confidence that they really are good at it. And I talk about that in some of my videos where it's like, do you care about people? Yeah. Are you honest? Yeah. Do you know how to do it? Yeah. So there are people who don't have all three of those, or
Hmm.
they're missing one of those. So you're
Hmm.
already better than some people that are out there. You are worthy of this. Like, let's go. Let me show you because you could save from a potentially bad experience because they're going to be working with you. And so those are the people that I want to help is people who, they care about people, they're going to be honest, and they're going to learn the things they need to learn so that they can do a good job for the people that need us. And wouldn't that be
Yeah.
amazing if all of the buyers and sellers out there were represented by excellent agents? I mean, that would just be
Hmm.
amazing. So, and
Hmm.
it's not like you have to sell 20 or 30 a year. I mean, hey, if you're only selling 1 to 6, let's get you up to 12. If you're not selling anything, huh, come on, we
Let's
need to
do
get you
something.
fixed. Yeah.
So you're really helping newer agents build a foundation from which to
Hmm.
grow from.
Yeah. The same foundation that I use being in the top 1%. I use
Yeah.
zero money, pay zero money on marketing. Zero. This is all stuff that's easy to implement and do, and you just got to show up. That's really all it is. Show
Yeah.
up and be
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah. Perfect. What's the one thing you wish someone had taught you in year one that you are now putting into your courses?
Yeah, it's the daily routine. I think I shared with you, I typed it all out and then I cut it out and I've got it taped right on my monitor. Been in the business 20 years and I have my daily routine typed on my monitor.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Rick, but sometimes I'll come into my office and I'll sit there and I'm like, what do I do? Is that weird? I mean, maybe it's just because I'm
Beep, beep, beep,
old,
beep.
but it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
like where should I start?
Yeah.
Daily routine. What's the first thing? Write 3 gratitudes in my journal. What's the next thing? Check showing
Hmm.
time for any showings that happened yesterday and follow up. What's the next
Hmm.
thing? Check for any new listings. What's the next thing? Right. So I just bam, 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 write down the list. And, daily routine can start with one thing on it. Just be consistent with that one thing. Once you're consistent, then add two or three and then be consistent.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
that would be the one thing that I would absolutely have wished that I had done in the beginning
Hmm.
because I feel like I would have been further faster if I had
Hmm.
had that level of consistency.
Yeah. No, that is a concept of giving yourself a certain number of tasks to do right away. You get that feeling of completion. You've completed
Hmm.
tasks. That creates a momentum for the rest of your day. And once it
Yeah.
becomes habit, um, then it becomes second nature to you to just have that momentum. You take care of those
Yep.
tasks. That gives you the energy and the drive and the feeling of accomplishment to then tackle the things that might be a little more difficult further on in your day, week, month, year.
100%. I mean, you're nailing
Uh,
it, Rick. The other thing I would throw out there is like if you go to the gym and you go there every day for 30 minutes, you're going to be way different than if you try to squeeze it all in the last week of December.
mhm.
That little things done consistently over time create massive results.
Mhm.
Skipping your calls today will not hurt you today. It will hurt you 45 to 60 days from today. And that's the thing that I think people miss is just how critical that daily routine is, those daily efforts that you put in. You can't make it all up on Friday. You got to do it every single day. So that would be the
Well,
one thing.
yeah. Well, in this day and age of instant gratification, there isn't so much follow through anymore. Especially, I mean, we can tie that back into the
Hmm.
gym analogy. You always
Yep.
have the New Year's resolution folks that come in and
Yep.
they're giving her hell for a month. They don't see their six pack forming in the mirror, and they say, "Well, this is why am I doing this?" And they
Yeah.
quit, but they didn't have a system to start with. They just went there thinking, "I'm just gonna come in here and I'm gonna get this result without doing A, B, C, D, E to get to there."
Hmm.
And I think that's how it happens. That's where the magic happens. Just setting those short goals, those little goals, and they don't have to be anything ginormous. They just have to be something that you can complete and that allows you to move on to the next one. And then before you know it, it all builds on itself.
Yes. 100%. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. And it takes a little bit of time. Like here recently, I've got a goal weight in mind. And so I've started walking an hour every day. And I started out at a small incline and I was just kind of like winded. I'm like, oh man. But this morning when I did it, I didn't lose my breath. And I'm at 3 miles an hour at 4.5 incline, right? Which is much different
Hmm.
than when I started just 2 weeks ago. But like the first time or two that I did it, like my feet were starting to hurt, my knees were hurting. I'm like, man, and my feet were like dragging on the treadmill instead of like
Hmm.
picking them up and moving. So you can't go from zero to 60 just like that. You've just got to put in a
Hmm.
little bit of effort each way, each
Yeah.
step of the way.
Yeah.
So I think we're on the
Absolutely.
same page there. Sounds like you're doing it in your business too, Rick.
We are on the same page. Yep. I strive to do that. Every once in a while, you got to allow yourself a little leeway. Forgive yourself when you're not 100% every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you can't let that become habit because once habits form, they're very hard to, it takes extreme willpower. Most people honestly don't have that willpower. And that's
Mm-mm.
where writing down these things to do each day to get your day rolling counteracts the willpower that most people don't have. And personally, I don't have as much willpower as I'd like, so I do need to follow a routine so that I don't
Mm-hmm.
get myself sidetracked.
Who does?
All right, right.
Right? So
Yeah,
when you don't have it and you recognize that, then what can you put in place to compensate for it? So it's not a weakness
yeah.
to not have the willpower. It's a weakness to not do anything about it. And so that's something that I always have to think about too, because I think if you talk to any person out there, doesn't matter how successful they are or aren't, we all struggle to do the things that we know we're supposed to do. That's just the way that it is. But those who can do it more consistently are the ones that do better. End of
Those
story.
are the ones that have video courses on telling people how to do it.
That's right. Do as I
Yeah,
say.
right, exactly.
And as I do.
And as you do. Last question today.
Sure.
Looking ahead, what's the signal you're watching most closely in your market right now? Is it inventory levels? Is it rate movement? Something else? What does winning look like for Farlow real estate experts by the end of this year?
Well, for me personally, to be over 52 listings for the year, 52 plus. That's my goal. I track that very closely. I track our income every month. I track everything, right? Because what you track, you hit. But what are some of the things that I'm looking for? I would love to really be able to help a lot of, I mean, if I'm honest, I would love for this business to take off in such a way that I have helped gobs of agents be successful. Like that would be a huge win for me. As
Mhm.
far as the market and selling more houses, the inventory is starting to come back. I think we're probably leveled out on what the interest rate, the impact the interest rate is having on whether people are buying or not. If they have to buy, they're going to buy. It just, that's the way it is. I don't think anybody's holding
Mhm.
back, waiting for a magic number at this point. We're still low on inventory compared to where we were pre-COVID. That was an
Mhm.
interesting number. Pre-COVID, we were at 237 houses available in our MLS in the Quincy area. After COVID started, we were down to 30. We dropped. There were
Wow.
only 12.5% of the houses available during that pandemic time frame. Now I think we're up around 150. So it's starting to creep back up to more of an equilibrium spot for us.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like our market is pretty solid where it is. I just want more of it in our office.
Right? There's never
Right?
enough.
Right. But I would absolutely, like for me personally, I would just love to be able to help other agents be successful this year in ways that they didn't think that they could be on their own or that they ever thought was possible. That would be so much fun. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the best of luck to you on that.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Rick.
So that was genuinely excellent. There were some real gold nuggets in there, and I
Thanks.
appreciate you being so open and forthcoming with us. And of course, your the tactical specifics in your mindset, I think, are going to be very valuable to anybody that's going to want to watch this podcast. And
Hmm.
definitely will some of these things I will take forward, even in my own business and in others that I've talked to as well. No, actually, really.
Well,
So
thanks.
thank you for being on
You're
with
welcome.
us, Mr. Farlow, and the best of luck to you in the future.
Well, thank you very much. And I would love to hear from your wife's broker or even from your wife if she would like some help. I mean, I'd be willing to coach her for free for a little while if she wanted to, just to get some of that success under my belt. And then she could tell other people, how it kind of ripples out. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm willing to work for free. I'm willing to do anything just to get this thing rolling. So,
Careful what you
yeah,
ask for.
yeah. Well, I there is it Zig Ziglar or who is it?
Yeah, he's a big
He's a
marketing
big
guy.
guy. It's one of those guys that talks about things, but it's like, what would you do if you didn't even get paid for it? Like, what would you enjoy doing? And
Mm,
honestly, teaching, and
hmm
helping other people is that for me. Selling
hmm
another house, who cares? I've done it. Been there, done that. But to
Right,
help someone
right.
else and to see their growth, that would be so cool. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
hoping to get to.
and that's, you've gotten to the point where you're now able to pursue more of a fulfilling passion. For anybody who really wants to get to that point in their life, the lessons that you put forth here are the pathway to do that. Because, we'd all, if it wasn't, they wouldn't call it work. There's a reason they call it work. If it wasn't work, they'd call it fun or vacation or something. But work is work. And you
Hmm.
gotta you gotta put forth the work before you can have the fun.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
it's
you got
fun.
to learn it. So,
Yeah, it's funny.
yeah.
We're done with the podcast now, so
Okay. Well, this is just
um
me normal.
yeah, yeah, okay. I grew up on the farm, so
Uh-huh.
yeah, we milk cows for a lot of years, and once I graduated high school and headed off to college, Dad didn't have help milking the cows anymore. It was funny how the cows. I wanted the cows to disappear long before I was done with high school, but they just seemed to disappear when I got out of high school. But yeah, um, but yeah, so
Yeah, my
growing up
dad
on the
grew up
farm
milking
and
milking cows, and I call
yeah,
that my near miss. There's a picture of me on my
yeah,
dad's back at about a year old in the milking parlor, and my
mhm,
dad had gone to college. He'd gone to a Bible college, and just to be able to help better at church. That was his whole plan. But then a church asked
yeah,
him to be a pastor. It's always tough being a pastor's kid growing up, but I think being a
mhm.
dairy farmer's kid would have been way worse.
That's tough. It's a tough one. I mean,
Yeah.
in some instances, growing up on a farm does teach you certain things.
Hmm.
Um, but at the flip side of that is that when you grow up on a farm, you never get away from the farm. I mean, being self-employed,
Hmm.
regardless, you never get away from it. And I maybe that's one of the things we could have talked about was your transition going from being a W-2 employee to now being a sole proprietor. A little bit of an adjustment period for you.
Scary. In the beginning, our budget was $2,000 a month. If you can imagine
Uh,
that. being married and
Yeah.
having three kids already, three little kids. Our budget was $2,000. I mean, that was we were like real small, and I wasn't even making that much. It was a struggle in the first couple years, struggle financially, but freedom and flexibility, awesome, awesome. I would never want to go back to a 9 to 5. I don't think I could work for someone again. I just enjoy so much getting to do whatever I want when I want and getting paid for what I'm worth in the
Yeah.
sense of if I can come up with the idea and I can execute it and get paid for it, then I'm worth it. And if I
Right.
can't, then well, that's what I'm worth too.
Yeah. 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 I've always said I make a shitty employee. That's why I just
Hmm.
can't work for anybody else anymore. I mean, I've been a sole proprietor for the bulk of my life, but I have worked for others from time to time, and it I have to be working with somebody who gives me enough free rein that I almost feel like I'm working for myself, but
Right.
they're the ones still signing the check at the end of the day. At any rate, yeah, I got to do and be successful in what I do because nobody else will have me. That's kind of the reality of
That's
that.
right. Well, I'm sure that's not totally true.
Well, it's what I tell myself. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rick.